If you're over 60 and taking magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3, and K2 together, especially at night before going to sleep, what I'm about to explain may help you understand why you still wake up feeling tired, why your legs cramp during the night, and why, even when you're doing everything correctly, it feels like your body is working against you. This isn't because the supplements are wrong, it's about something very few people mention, something that becomes more important after 60, and something your doctor likely didn't explain when recommending these nutrients. The issue is timing. And when the timing is off, the effects go much deeper than most people think. Here's what's happening in many bodies across America right now. Millions of older adults are taking these three key nutrients: vitamin D for bone support, K2 for arterial health, and magnesium for better sleep, but they're combining them in ways that can create internal imbalance. One nutrient signals your body to stay alert. Another is trying to help you relax. Meanwhile, the third cannot function properly because the other two are competing for the same absorption pathways. As a result, calcium doesn't reach the areas where it's needed most. Your muscles remain tight when they should be relaxing. Your sleep becomes interrupted. Over time, the very supplements meant to support your health may end up working at half their potential, or even less. In the next few minutes, I'll explain exactly why this occurs, what your body may be signaling, and the simple morning and evening separation that can make a real difference. If you've been taking all three together and wondering why you're not seeing the results you expected, stay with me. This might be the missing piece you've been looking for. Thomas, 67 from Tampa, followed all the recommended steps. Each night before bed, he prepared his three supplements: vitamin D3, 5,000 IU, vitamin K2, 100 micrograms, and magnesium glycinate, 400 milligrams, and took them together with a glass of water. His doctor had advised vitamin D for bone health. He had learned about K2 supporting arteries, and his wife recommended magnesium after he mentioned leg cramps that were disturbing his sleep. For 8 months, Thomas remained consistent. He didn't skip a single night, but instead of improvement, he began noticing unusual changes. His sleep became lighter. He could fall asleep without trouble, but would wake up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., sometimes even 4 or 5 times during the night. His calves cramped so intensely that he had to get up and walk to ease the discomfort. During the day, he felt both restless and drained at the same time, as if his body couldn't fully relax. His blood pressure, which had been stable for years, slowly started to rise. And perhaps most discouraging of all, a recent bone density scan showed very little progress despite months of consistent supplementation. Thomas began to question whether the supplements were even effective. Perhaps they were just a waste of money. Maybe his body could no longer respond the way it used to, but the real issue wasn't the supplements themselves. The problem was that his body was receiving 3 conflicting signals at the same time, every single night. And after 60, that kind of internal conflict doesn't just reduce effectiveness, it creates stress. Here's what most people don't realize until it's too late. After 60, the body loses much of its ability to compensate for these kinds of mistakes. When you were 40, maybe even 50, you could take supplements randomly, combine them however you liked, and your body would manage it. Your digestive system was more resilient. Your nervous system could tolerate mixed signals. Your kidneys and liver processed everything efficiently. But after 60, everything shifts. Your stomach produces less acid, which slows absorption. Your kidneys convert nutrients less efficiently. Your nervous system becomes more sensitive to stimulation and more reliant on clear signals to relax. The margin for error becomes much smaller. What once caused no noticeable issue now quietly weakens your health day after day, week after week, month after month. And here's the part that concerns me most. When calcium isn't directed properly, when magnesium can't fully relax your muscles, when vitamin D stimulates your system at the wrong time, the effects begin to stack. Poor sleep leads to higher inflammation. Inflammation impacts blood pressure and blood sugar. Tight muscles increase the risk of falls. Misplaced calcium can slowly build up in arteries instead of strengthening bones. None of this happens overnight, but over months and years, these small inefficiencies lead to real consequences. And the real tragedy is that people blame aging or genetics, when the actual problem is that their carefully selected supplements are working against each other. But here's what gives me hope, and it's something the supplement industry doesn't emphasize. The solution isn't buying more expensive brands. It's not adding more nutrients to your routine. It's not even increasing your dosage. The real solution is understanding one principle that changes everything. After 60, timing matters more than dosage. Think about that for a moment. You could be taking the right supplements at the correct doses, but if you take them at the wrong time of day or combine them improperly, you're only getting a small portion of the benefit. This is what I call the nutrient timing reset. And once you understand how to separate these three supplements correctly, morning versus evening, stimulating versus calming, you give your body exactly what it has been asking for: clear signals, no competition, no confusion. Most doctors don't talk about this because they aren't trained in it. Medical school focuses on diseases and medications. Nutrient timing isn't part of that curriculum. The supplement industry doesn't highlight it either because it's more profitable to sell more products than to teach people how to use what they already have effectively. But the research is clear. When these nutrients are separated correctly, absorption improves, side effects decrease, and the benefits increase. Let's begin with vitamin D3, because this is where most confusion starts and where the biggest timing mistake happens. Vitamin D3 is often called the sunshine vitamin, and there's a good reason for that. It doesn't just support bone health. After 60, vitamin D3 acts more like a hormone. It influences calcium absorption, but it also affects energy metabolism, immune function, inflammation control, and importantly, your circadian rhythm. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism shows that vitamin D3 has mild stimulating effects. It promotes alertness. It activates metabolic pathways. When your skin produces vitamin D from sunlight, it happens during the day when you're meant to be active. Your body expects vitamin D signals during waking hours, not at night. When you take vitamin D3 in the evening, especially close to bedtime, you're essentially sending your body a wake-up signal right when you're trying to relax. This doesn't feel like drinking coffee. You won't feel obviously jittery or wired. Instead, the effect is subtle but significant. Taking vitamin D3 at night can interfere with melatonin production. Melatonin is your body's natural sleep hormone, and after 60, your body already produces less of it than it did in earlier years. When vitamin D3 disrupts melatonin even slightly, sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented. You may fall asleep easily, but wake up several times during the night. You might wake up too early and never feel fully rested. And here's the critical point. Vitamin D3's main function is to increase calcium absorption. It moves calcium from your digestive system into your bloodstream. That's beneficial. That's exactly what you want. But if that calcium isn't directed properly, if vitamin K2 isn't active at the right time, and if your body is in nighttime repair mode instead of daytime building mode, that calcium circulates without clear direction. Over time, this may contribute to what's known as soft tissue calcification, calcium settling in arteries, joints, kidneys, and other places it shouldn't be. After 60, this process can speed up if you're not careful. Your body's natural ability to regulate calcium declines. You need more intentional support, and that begins with taking vitamin D3 earlier in the day. Research published in Diabetes Care suggests that morning intake of vitamin D3 aligns better with natural cortisol rhythms and supports improved metabolic outcomes compared to evening use. Vitamin D3 also needs fat to be absorbed effectively. It's fat-soluble, which means taking it on an empty stomach or with only water significantly reduces how much enters your bloodstream. You should take it with a meal that includes healthy fats, eggs, avocado, olive oil, nuts, full-fat dairy, or fatty fish. These foods create the right environment for vitamin D3 to be absorbed and transported properly. This is the nutrient timing reset principle in action. The right supplement at the right time, under the right conditions. Now let's move to vitamin K2, the nutrient that very few people fully understand, yet almost everyone over 60 should consider taking. Once vitamin D3 has raised calcium levels in your bloodstream, your body faces an important question. Where should that calcium go? And this is exactly where vitamin K2 becomes essential. Without it, calcium behaves like a wanderer. With it, calcium is guided exactly where it belongs. Vitamin K2 works by activating two key proteins, osteocalcin and matrix GLA protein. Osteocalcin pulls calcium out of your bloodstream and locks it into bone tissue, where it improves density and strength. Matrix GLA protein performs the opposite role in your arteries. It stops calcium from settling in blood vessel walls, helping your arteries stay flexible and clear. This dual function, strengthening bones while protecting arteries, is exactly what your body needs after 60. But here's the issue. As you get older, your body's ability to activate these proteins drops significantly. Research published in Thrombosis and Hemostasis shows that vitamin K2 deficiency is common among older adults. This deficiency is directly linked to increased arterial calcification and reduced bone density. Think about that. You may be taking calcium and vitamin D3, but without enough K2, that calcium could be strengthening your arteries instead of your bones. This is known as the calcium paradox, weak bones and stiff arteries at the same time. Both problems come from the same issue, calcium going to the wrong places. Vitamin K2 is uncommon in the modern diet. It's mainly found in fermented foods like natto, certain aged cheeses, and animal fats from grass-fed sources. Most Americans, especially those over 60, rarely eat these foods. And unlike vitamin K1, which is plentiful in green vegetables and helps with blood clotting, vitamin K2 has a completely different role, directing calcium. You can eat spinach and kale daily and still be very low in K2. The most effective supplemental form is MK7, which stays active in your body longer and offers more consistent support throughout the day. Most people over 60 benefit from 100 to 200 micrograms daily. Because K2 is fat-soluble, it should be taken with dietary fat for proper absorption, just like vitamin D3. This is why taking both together in the morning with a fat-containing meal works well. They function as partners. D3 increases calcium availability, while K2 directs where that calcium goes. This is the nutrient timing reset working as intended, cooperation, not competition. However, there's one critical safety warning to understand. If you're taking blood-thinning medications, especially warfarin or Coumadin, you must not start vitamin K2 without medical supervision. Vitamin K affects blood clotting, and adding it while on these medications can interfere with their effectiveness. This is non-negotiable. Speak with your doctor first. Now let's move to magnesium, specifically magnesium glycinate, which is the form I most often recommend for adults over 60. If vitamin D3 is the activator and K2 is the director, magnesium is the relaxer. It plays a role in over 300 enzymatic processes in your body. But the functions that matter most after 60 include muscle relaxation, calming the nerves, stabilizing heart rhythm, and supporting sleep. Here's how magnesium works at the cellular level. Every time a muscle contracts, calcium enters the muscle cell. For that muscle to relax, magnesium pushes the calcium back out. This applies to every muscle in your body, your legs, your heart, your blood vessels, everything. When magnesium levels are low, muscles cannot fully relax. They remain in a partially contracted state. This is why magnesium deficiency often shows up as nighttime leg cramps, muscle twitches, restless legs, or even heart palpitations. Your muscles are essentially stuck in tension mode. According to research in the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences, magnesium supplementation significantly improves sleep quality in older adults, reduces the time needed to fall asleep, and lowers nighttime awakenings. But here's the key point. These benefits mainly occur when magnesium is taken in the evening, when your body is preparing for rest. Magnesium signals your nervous system to shift from a fight-or-flight state into rest and repair mode. It supports the production of GABA, a calming neurotransmitter. It also helps regulate melatonin. In simple terms, it tells your body that it's safe to slow down. Magnesium glycinate is preferred because the glycine component enhances these calming effects. Glycine itself is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, meaning it reduces nerve activity. When combined with magnesium, it creates a stronger calming effect. In addition, magnesium glycinate is gentle on the digestive system. Other forms, like magnesium oxide or citrate, can cause loose stools or digestive discomfort, which defeats the purpose if your goal is better sleep. For most adults over 60, taking 200 to 400 mg of magnesium glycinate 30 to 60 minutes before bed is effective. It's best to start on the lower end and adjust based on your response. If you notice any digestive changes, slightly reduce the dose. Within 1 to 2 weeks of consistent evening use, most people notice fewer muscle cramps, less nighttime restlessness, and deeper, more restorative sleep. This is the nutrient timing reset in action, giving magnesium the right conditions to work fully. Evening timing, no interference, and clear signals. But here's where a major problem appears. When people take magnesium at the same time as vitamin D3, especially in the evening, two issues arise. First, magnesium can interfere with how vitamin D3 is absorbed and processed. Research in the Magnesium Research Journal shows that taking them together can reduce the conversion of vitamin D into its active form. Second, vitamin D3's stimulating effect works against magnesium's calming role. Your body receives mixed signals at the same time. The result is that neither nutrient performs as well as it should. You're spending money on both, taking them consistently, yet getting reduced benefits from each. Let me be very clear about the 3 most common mistakes I see that completely undermine results, even among people who are trying to do everything right. These are not minor issues. These patterns prevent the nutrient timing reset from working and leave people feeling stuck. Mistake number 3, taking all 3 supplements together at night. This is by far the most common error. People do it for convenience. They want a simple routine. Maybe they keep all their supplements in the bathroom and take them before brushing their teeth. But what they don't realize is that they're forcing the body to process competing signals at the exact moment it should be getting a clear message to rest. Vitamin D3 stimulates. Magnesium relaxes. K2 attempts to guide calcium while absorption is reduced. Everything competes. Nothing functions at its best, and over weeks and months the effects build up. Poor sleep, ongoing muscle tightness, calcium not reaching the bones efficiently, vitamin D levels remaining low despite supplementation. Mistake number 2, taking vitamin D3 without fat. I see this all the time. People swallow their vitamin D3 capsule with water, often early in the morning on an empty stomach, thinking they're being proactive. But vitamin D3 is fat-soluble. Without dietary fat, absorption drops significantly. Studies show that taking vitamin D3 with a fat-containing meal can boost absorption by 30 to 50% compared to taking it without fat. That's not a minor gap. That's the difference between adequate vitamin D levels and deficiency, between protecting your bones and losing bone density, between strong immune support and increased vulnerability. The solution is straightforward. Take vitamin D3 and K2 with breakfast or lunch. Any meal that includes eggs, avocado, olive oil, nuts, or fatty fish will work. Mistake number 1, not separating magnesium from vitamin D3. Even when people take vitamin D3 earlier in the day, they sometimes take magnesium with the same meal, assuming it's fine to combine morning supplements. But as we've discussed, magnesium can interfere with vitamin D metabolism when taken at the same time. The correct approach is vitamin D3 and K2 together in the morning with fat, and magnesium on its own in the evening before bed. This separation allows each nutrient its best absorption window and helps them work with your body's natural rhythms instead of against them. Consider someone like Patricia, 71, from Austin. Patricia had been taking all three supplements together every evening for more than a year. She couldn't understand why her vitamin D blood test showed only 26 nanograms per milliliter despite taking 4,000 IU daily. That's barely adequate. She was also dealing with worsening sleep disruption and persistent calf cramps that woke her at least twice a night. When we separated her supplements, moving D3 and K2 to the morning with breakfast and keeping magnesium at bedtime, her vitamin D level increased to 44 nanograms per milliliter within 3 months on the same dose. Her sleep improved within 2 weeks. Her cramps reduced significantly. Nothing else changed except timing. That's the impact of the nutrient timing reset. So let's go through exactly how to apply the nutrient timing reset properly. This is the protocol that works, the one that respects how your body functions after 60 and gives each nutrient the conditions it needs. Morning protocol, ideally with breakfast or lunch. Take your vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 together. The typical dose for most adults over 60 is 2,000 to 5,000 IU of vitamin D3, although your exact dose should be determined by your doctor based on your blood levels, and 100 to 200 micrograms of vitamin K2 in the MK7 form. These should be taken with a meal that contains healthy fats. This doesn't need to be complicated or excessive. 2 eggs cooked in olive oil provide enough fat. Half an avocado on whole grain toast works well. A serving of full-fat Greek yogurt with nuts or fish like salmon or sardines also works. Any of these options creates the fat environment needed for proper absorption. Why morning? Because this is when your body is metabolically active. It's when calcium absorption should occur, and when vitamin D3's mild stimulating effect aligns with your natural cortisol rhythm instead of interfering with melatonin. When you take D3 and K2 in the morning, you support bone formation, proper calcium distribution, immune function, and cardiovascular health during the active part of your day. Everything works together. This is the nutrient timing reset, creating cooperation instead of conflict. Evening protocol, 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Take your magnesium glycinate alone without any other supplements. For most people over 60, 200 to 400 milligrams is effective. You can take it with water, with a light snack, or about an hour after dinner. The key is keeping it separate from your morning supplements and timing it so magnesium supports your body's natural transition into sleep. Within 30 to 45 minutes of taking magnesium in the evening, you should notice a gentle shift. Muscles feel more relaxed. Your mind feels quieter, not sedated, just calmer. When you lie down, you fall asleep more easily, and your sleep becomes deeper and less interrupted. Over weeks and months, muscle cramps decrease, restless leg symptoms improve, and morning recovery becomes better. This is your body finally receiving a clear signal. No competition, no confusion, just support. One more important point. If you're taking calcium supplements, and many people over 60 are, calcium should generally be taken separately from magnesium because they compete for absorption. A reasonable plan is taking calcium with your midday meal if needed, vitamin D3 and K2 with breakfast, and magnesium in the evening. However, before starting calcium supplements, talk with your doctor about whether you actually need them. Many older adults get enough calcium from their diet. Dairy products, leafy greens, and fortified foods can provide sufficient amounts, and too much calcium supplementation without enough K2 may contribute more to arterial calcification than bone strength. Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition supports this concern. Let me share something that may change how you view your symptoms. Every uncomfortable feeling you're experiencing, the leg cramps, the broken sleep, the internal restlessness, the fatigue despite supplementation, these are not signs that your body is failing. They are signals. Your body is trying to communicate something, and what it's saying is this: I need clearer direction, I need separation, I need timing that matches my natural rhythms. After 60, your body loses some of its ability to handle mixed signals. It can't process conflicting instructions the way it could when you were younger. When you provide stimulation and relaxation at the same time, when nutrients compete for the same absorption pathways, when natural circadian rhythms and metabolic cycles are ignored, your body responds with symptoms, not because it's broken, but because it's more sensitive. And in this case, that sensitivity is actually a form of wisdom. Your body is telling you exactly what it needs. Most people just don't know how to interpret it. Your symptoms are not punishment, they are information. And when you adjust timing to match what your body is asking for, those symptoms often improve naturally because the underlying conflict is removed. Now, let's address something that may feel frustrating, but it's important to understand. Why hasn't anyone told you this before? Why didn't your doctor explain nutrient timing when recommending these supplements? Why don't supplement labels include timing instructions? And why does it feel like you have to search for this information when it's clearly important? Here's the honest answer. The medical system is not designed to teach nutritional optimization. Doctors receive very limited nutrition training in medical school, often just a few hours over several years. They are trained in diseases, diagnostics, and medications. Nutrient timing is not part of standard exams or core curriculum, so when your doctor recommends vitamin D for bone health, they're working within the framework they were taught. Take vitamin D. That's where the guidance usually ends. They're not being careless, they simply were not trained in the details that become more important after 60. As we reach the end of today's discussion, I want to leave you with clear direction on what to do next and why it matters more than you may think. First, the action steps. Starting tomorrow morning, separate your supplements using the nutrient timing reset protocol. Take vitamin D3 and K2 together with breakfast, any meal that includes healthy fats. Take magnesium glycinate alone in the evening, 30 to 60 minutes before sleep. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't add new supplements. Don't change doses yet. Just adjust timing. Give your body 4 weeks to respond. You should notice better sleep within the first 2 weeks. Muscle cramps often reduce during weeks 2 to 3. Energy and daytime function usually improve by week 4. Second, pay attention to your body's feedback. If you notice digestive changes, adjust your magnesium dose slightly. If you feel more alert in the mornings after moving D3 earlier, that confirms that evening timing was interfering. If your sleep becomes deeper, you're seeing the nutrient timing reset working as intended. Your body will respond. Pay attention to it. Third, consider follow-up blood work in 3 to 4 months if you've been supplementing without seeing improvement in levels. Many people find their vitamin D levels increase significantly once timing and fat intake are optimized, even at the same dose. That's not luck, that's proper absorption. Now, understand this at a deeper level. You are not too old to feel better, you are not beyond improvement, and you are not without control in this process. After 60, health is not about doing more or taking more. It's about precision. It's about working with your body's natural rhythms instead of against them. The nutrient timing reset demonstrates this clearly. Small, well-timed adjustments create results that force and excess cannot achieve. You now know something that most people, including many doctors, may never fully understand. Timing matters as much as dosage. Nutrients can compete or cooperate depending on when and how they are taken. Your symptoms are not failures. They are signals asking for better alignment, and you know exactly how to respond. Thank you for trusting me with your time today. Thank you for being someone who questions, who looks deeper, who seeks understanding beyond surface advice. You're doing something many people never do. You're taking control. I'm Dr. Michael Kent. Take care of your body. Give it the clear signals it's asking for. And remember, aging does not mean decline is guaranteed. With the right knowledge and small, thoughtful changes, you can protect your strength, your independence, and your quality of life for years to come. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and keep asking questions.